Hey everyone, and welcome to the Defining Your Life podcast, where we focus on living in our purpose, practicing presence, and activating our power in each moment. I'm Marsharelle, your resident pep talk provider, and I invite you to join me as we continue to learn, lift each other up, and strive to level up together. Because we are never finished defining our lives, and it takes a village, so let's build one. Stay tuned for the episode. Hey everyone, I hope that all is well and that you had a peace-filled and productive week. What y'all do this weekend? I was pretty busy. It felt like I did all the things, but at the same time, it's like, what did I do again? I'm sure you can all relate. I know you've had weekends like that in the past. You know, you were busy, but busy doing what, right? And in the spirit of not knowing where the time went this weekend, even though I was very busy, I just want to share this reminder that you need to be managing your time like you manage your money, right? Don't just let it disappear on you, because it will. So, being a good steward of time rolls right into what I want to talk about today, and that's being a good steward of your gifts, watering your seeds. Y'all know I love a good garden analogy, and it's definitely that time of year, so I'm doing a quick check-in to make sure that you are watering your seeds. We are all blessed with gifts and talents. There are some things that you might be good at, right? Then other things that you're only able to get by, scraping by at the skin of your teeth. But then there's the stuff that you can do with your eyes closed without any thought and not much effort at all. It's just an innate ability that you have. But just because you are naturally gifted in some areas doesn't mean you shouldn't pour into these parts of yourself, investing in yourself in the deepest way. We spend so much of our time trying to improve in the areas where we are weakest. And of course, we should always try to get better at the things that we struggle with. Self-improvement is great, of course, but it shouldn't be at the expense of our gifts, our natural talents, the things that make us shine in the world. What actually would happen if we all leaned into our gifts? Well, I believe we'd all be out here on the glow up, right? Because if we took that same energy that we apply into showing up in certain spaces with only subpar results, if we took that energy and applied it to the areas that we're good at, the areas that we're strong in, what would that look like? Who would you become if you cultivated all that's amazing within you? If we are constantly only focused on trying to strengthen our weaknesses, we are positioning ourselves to continuously struggle with our confidence, struggle with identifying our value, and have trouble recognizing the great contributions that each of us has the opportunity to make. Working hard is important. Working hard to strengthen weaknesses is important. And working hard at growing and exploring our full selves is also important. But when we apply that hard work to the areas that we already shine in, that, my friend, is illuminating. Sometimes we are oblivious to our natural gifts and talents because we remain so focused on our areas of improvement, which doesn't sound so terrible, but we can't only be focused on the areas in which we're experiencing a deficit. Like, do you actually know what your gifts are? Have you taken inventory lately of the things that you are truly good at, or have you revisited those gifts lately? Do you believe that you should be investing in your strengths and watering those seeds? If not, why don't you believe that they're worthy of your investment? What lies have you told yourself about yourself and about your worthiness and the meaningfulness of your gifts that is keeping you from being emboldened in them? You probably have people in your life that can even see your gifts and your power for what it is, and they might even try to encourage you to lean fully into them. But no one can do the work for you. No one can make you see your value. No one can maximize your potential, and no one can be you, right? You have to see your value. You have to explore the possibilities, and you have to want it. You have to want to see how far it can take you, or else you'll never push to go farther. I've learned that if you try to ignore the key things that make you tick, and you know who you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to be doing, you'll never be settled, right? You'll find yourself restless, trying to make a round peg fit into a square hole, and you will ultimately lack contentment, which is not a great feeling. To know that the best parts of yourself are buried, unused, uncultivated, unwatered, leaving the essence of you untapped is unacceptable. If you currently find yourself in a dormant state, I implore you to make a change. I know it's scary, I know it's hard, but it's necessary. So, what's your call to action, you ask? Start by making 3 lists. These lists can include your job duties. That's pretty obvious, right? But also hobbies, domestic or volunteer obligations. Consider whatever you invest your time and energy into. So the 3 lists are what you're good at, those things that you can do superbly with ease, like I said, with your eyes closed. Next would be a list of the things that you're okay at. You may have to put in some work, but you're willing to do it and it's still rewarding to you. And finally, make a list of those things that you know you're far from amazing at, but for some reason, you just keep plugging away at them, trying to make them work. And be honest with this list, right? Because this list is just for you. So be transparent and be as honest as possible about it. Now, once you have your lists, identify the things that bring you the most joy just by even looking at them on the list. These, of course, are probably on the list of things that you're great at or even the things that you're just okay at. Is it cooking, cleaning, crunching numbers in the accounting department at your company? Or is it crushing $1 million deals in the sales department with killer presentations? For these things, think about what the next step would be on the ladder to help you level up. Because what you want to do is create a stretch goal and a plan for achievement, right? You're already shining here. So how can you push yourself to new heights? Maybe in your cooking, you want to think about how you can level up. Is it something you want to share with the world by writing recipes to share online? Or are you interested in creating a best-selling cookbook or even one that's just a cherished family heirloom? You know how you can water the seed? You just start by recording one recipe and then another and then another. And soon you'll have a whole garden of recipes, right? That's what leveling up and leaning into your gifts looks like. It doesn't have a specific label. It's not done a certain way, but it's just leaning in more and meeting your personal definition of elevation in the space that you want to shine in. Now, what's on the list that's not so great? What's bringing you down? What's making you feel like you don't measure up or making you feel drained? Assess how you can start to remove these things from your life. I was at church the other day and the pastor was talking about exiting to enter, right? So these are exit points and enter points. I guess that was just in my subconscious as I was putting this together. But assess where you can start to remove these things from your life. Or at a minimum, you want to deprioritize those things that are draining you. An example could be, you've been thrown into a position, a volunteer role. Maybe it's the role of secretary at an organization that you love, but no one else wanted to do it this year. So you stepped up. But the problem is you have trouble focusing. You take terrible notes and you're notorious for not following up. So I would say in this instance, it's time to find a replacement because not only are you doing a disservice to yourself and you're miserable and it's just draining you, right? But the organization is suffering as well because you're not the right fit. You haven't saved the day by simply putting a body in a seat. And if you can't effectively do the job and it's robbing you of the joy you felt from participating in the organization in the beginning, it's time to go. So, for instances like these that are sucking the life out of you, start planning your exit strategy because we're not talking about abandoning ship when we truly have a responsibility to something, but you do want to plan an exit strategy and get out. Now, if your job isn't in alignment with the things that you thrive at, but you desire professional excellence and the opportunity to level up, it might be time to start looking for a new job. And while it's not an overnight thing, I know jobs can be super challenging to even look for. That process in and of itself is draining. But zoom out, look at the big picture, and start a plan. And a plan isn't just continuing to complain and talk about how this is wrong at the job and that is wrong at the job. If you're not going to do anything about it, don't complain. But if you know it's not the right fit for you, you have to exit, right? And so part of your plan or watering those seeds could be updating your resume and your LinkedIn profile, getting a new certification to brush up on your skills, or simply getting back out there into the land of networking. But every action that you take is not just you planting the seed, but watering it and watching it grow until you find yourself in a place of bloom. And the time will come, even if it does take a little longer than you anticipate. I often take a look at the garden and you get these seed packets and might tell you it takes X amount of days until the plant is going to be ready for harvest. And sometimes because of the weather conditions, it may go a little longer. I've had seeds that didn't come up at the end of a season. And then lo and behold, when the start of the new spring season comes to be, here are my seeds popping up and I didn't even have to do any more work. So let that be encouraging to you that while you may not see the bloom when you think you're going to see it or you expect to see it, that doesn't mean it's not coming. So today I have a quote from Israel Moore Ivor. He says, "Plant your tiny seeds and keep watering them every day. Soon they'll grow." Thanks so much for listening today. If what you have been hearing has been beneficial, please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share the pod. And I can't wait to chat with you all again next week. Take care until then.